Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to Sad Boys, podcast about feelings and other things also. I'm Jarvis.
Deep breath, because I had taken a very excessive breath out as you started the intro and wasn't prepared. And you know why that's embarrassing?
Why?
The thing you said right before was, "Are you ready?"
Oh.
And I went, "Yep." And then caught myself. And I'm Jordan. You know, I still don't know how to open the show.
Well,
Very sincerely, I feel like I get it wrong. Not wrong, but
I feel like I haven't been varying it much lately, but we do kind of have seasons, because there was a time when you would open it with like howdy, and there was a time when you would always have a little snappy thing.
I forgot about howdy. And
I wonder how many times you've opened the show.
Like from the beginning.
Yeah, because I sometimes I want to be like a wacky little guy.
I'll give it a swing.
Okay.
Hi, welcome to Sad Boys, a podcast about feelings and other things also. I'm Jordan.
And I'll tell you what, my name,
All right.
you don't need to know my name. I'm known all around the world.
It's Jason Statham, I know you.
Yeah, I'm Jason Statham.
How's it going, man?
I'm a keeper of bees.
Oh, wow, I thought it was a documentary.
I'm a keeper of bees, and I'm the bee's knees.
Right.
Jeez.
But you kill people, right? It's not like actually keeping
From time to time, I kill whoever needs to be killed.
time to time.
From time to time. From time to time, from rhyme to rhyme, Jason Steezy is off the heezy, and he's going to slit your throat.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. And I'm Johnson.
Right? Isn't it
Jarvis
weird?
Johnson.
Isn't it weird? It's like
It's fun.
the closeout, you know? Your part is harder because you've got to have that like starter momentum. And
But it's like a song, and I like blow a harmonizing whistle. What are they called? Not a whistle. It's a, I don't know, man.
Don't say it.
What is it?
You won't.
Like, I know I'm scared.
I hit like a tuning fork.
I was gonna say a tone. Like now I am scared that I don't know what it's called, but it's the thing you blow to
That's
make
what
sure you're in key.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
You search blow.
Tuning blow thing. Is it just called a tuning whistle?
That would make sense, right?
I said that, but that didn't feel right. And then we start singing
Pitch whistle or something?
pitch whistle, maybe.
Then we appropriate like a hip hop song or something.
This
and
is
we
mostly the podcast. It's us saying something and trying to fact
Pitch
check
pipe.
it. Pitch pipe.
It's called a pitch pipe? That's fun.
Okay, that's kind of close to a whistle, kind of.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's a fancy one. Chromatic tuning whistle, pitch pipe. Oh, it is a tuning whistle. Wow. Another thing from the annals of how did I know that?
I mean, it makes sense, right?
I guess. It came out and I was like, that can't be
Doesn't
right.
sound good. Tuning whistle.
No.
Ironically.
So, can you whistle?
I in a way that feels like I'm cheating. Same with snapping my fingers. Like, look at my snap fingers motion.
Oh, that is
I'm
interesting.
doing a reverse.
You know, the
essentially.
sound is actually from hitting your palm and not from your fingers.
That's the thing is I'm hitting my index finger when I do it. That's what's
Oh.
making the sound. But I feel like maybe it's because my fingers are long and weird and fucked up. But I can't generate the torque.
I think in my best days, I can snap with multiple fingers, something along those lines.
Whistling, no, I can't do the like. Especially where I grew up with farmer lads.
Farmer.
This one.
Oh, I
with the
can't
two
do
fingers.
that. I
That
can't,
shit is amazing.
That stuff is crazy to me. I can whistle in like regular style,
You can whistle a tune.
and I can whistle in key. Like,
You can whistle like in a cartoon when they're walking away and they did something suspicious. And they're like, "Oh, not me! I'm whistling
give me
a
a song. Give me a song to whistle.
What's the one that's like da 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 da?
Oh yeah.
See? Can you imagine Jarvis walking away from like a pie he stole or something off a windowsill? Or he spilled a glass of milk.
He's walking like with his arms swinging.
Yeah, dude.
Oh yeah.
The police run the other way.
When a lady comes walking down your street and you go,
God, that's so nice of you. Let's get married.
yeah, okay, I'm in. This worked out way better than expected.
Oh my goodness. Is that what like weird creeps on the street are expecting?
When they go, auga, that's a crazy, I don't know, it's weird. I wonder what compels men?
I think it is.
Many such cases.
I think it's for the other guys, quite frankly. Or it's like for gender
Oh,
performance.
it's
I don't
going
think
on.
it is.
I know what boobs feel like.
Don't even worry about it.
Don't even worry about it, fellas.
It kind of breaks the brain to the extent where I feel like when guys that don't interrogate that and stop themselves do dude stuff, act like the boys, the fellas, by themselves for no one. Like, I will still sit a certain way or like be self-conscious of my like pose or how I'm presenting, how I open the fridge. But like, well, I don't want to open it like bending too much or something.
I look at myself in the mirror sometimes and I think, when someone gives you a compliment, but that compliment is about a part of your body that you're self-conscious about. So you can't take it as a compliment. Instead, it's like alarmed. You're alarmed that they can see that.
Yes.
Oh, you can see that?
It's acknowledgement.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, you have like a nice smile. And I go, but my teeth.
Right.
So, you know what's in there, right?
You know what's in there, right? And so that's how I've always felt about my butt. Because I've always had a fucking wagon, dude.
You got hardware, brother. I'm jealous as.
And I hate it. I'm like more comfortable with my body now, but my instinct was just to go, and I hate it because I don't want that. I want a Hank Hill butt. I want a really flat butt,
I want to be built like a real gamer.
Yeah, and I want to talk about oil and, or what does he say? Something accessories? Propane and propane is accessories.
He says,
I'll tell you what.
Give me that propane, he says. Hey, boy, give me all the propane.
Bobby?
Now, I'll kill you if you don't.
Bobby, I've got a butt.
I haven't seen the show.
I've got a tiny butt.
Look at my ass.
Son? Sorry, that's getting to the topic.
Oh, no.
But first, have you heard the AI news?
Oh, the China.
It's kind of crazy because, like, we were talking about how, like, all of the tech giants are like, Mr. President, you're actually my favorite, and here's $1 million for you.
Would you like a little kiss on the cheek,
Would
sir?
you like a little
cuddle?
kiss on the cheek? And also, you're not going to sue me, right? You're not going to try to break up my company. You'd never do that because we're friends.
You wouldn't sue somebody like me, and your dick is huge, right?
Right. And you stand so normal.
Dude, young, normal standing guy over here in my
Normal
company.
standing guy. Like last week, or I don't know, time is an illusion.
I think so, yeah.
I think it was last week, Trump announced this like $500 billion AI fund with like Larry Ellison from Oracle, who's like nearly 80 years old and looks way too young. Also getting to the topic, looks way too young. He's definitely doing something. He's doing some billionaire stuff. That's all I gotta say. He also looks like he'll be played by Robert Downey Jr. in a movie where he's an evil billionaire.
And they're very generous about how charismatic he is.
Like, can we pull up an image of Larry Ellison? He looks like a puffy Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait.
Like,
It's a
how
goatee
old is
when
he?
you're old.
The old too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait. That says he's 190.
Yeah, he's 80.
Oh.
I mean, like that picture,
He doesn't look 80.
he doesn't look 80. Can you pull up Larry Ellison and then Trump AI?
Cute.
Yeah, that photo. That it was the top left photo.
He looks.
Yeah,
so
this
happy.
is like Project Stargate. They announced this like $500 billion AI initiative with like Masayoshi Son from SoftBank and Larry Ellison and Sam Altman from OpenAI. And
the
it's
squad.
all of the tech giants going like, hey, government, we need $1 million bajillion to do AI because we need to be the leaders in AI.
We got to buy a bunch of MacBooks and put them in a pile.
This Chinese hedge fund had some engineers on the side building like a Chat GPT type thing, and they just open sourced it, and it's beating Chat GPT's like $200 paid service at almost everything benchmark wise.
So
and allegedly
embarrassing.
it was trained for only $6 million versus the like, the hundreds of billions. But it definitely does train on ChatGPT as like part of its input, but it's also open source. So you can like, there was this old Google thing from 2023 where they basically said like, hey, like open source might screw the pooch. And so it won't keep all these like keys to all these like secrets.
Yeah, maybe don't put all of your eggs in this basket until
Yeah.
the
But then
market.
everyone did, and it was like a whole new .com boom where everything that was like AI related was like getting tons of hype around it.
You integrate it, even if it does nothing for the service.
DeepSeek comes out, it's free and it's open source, but it's from China. It is, I think, the largest single day erasure in like company market cap in history, because it's kind of weird, but Nvidia ended up losing like 20% of its market cap, like nearly, I think the whole stock market ended up losing like $1 trillion or something like that.
Jesus Christ.
And part of the reason is just because
China's so cool.
because NVIDIA makes the chips, and everyone needs NVIDIA's chips to do AI. But the thought was, there's going to be all of this money coming to NVIDIA because all these companies are going to be buying the chips because they need these giant server farms that are going to take up all the energy. Like there's like a metric where like a Google search, I think, can uses the amount of energy to light a light bulb for like 1 second, and like a search to ChatGPT is like enough energy to light a light bulb for like 12 minutes or something like that. But anyway, so with all that, the thought was that the market was expecting that hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars are going to continue to flow into NVIDIA, and then now the government's promising all this money.
There's a little clip of Trump having AI explained to him in abstract terms, and then signing the executive order like he's doing a coloring book at a restaurant.
Oh, like what's this one? Oh, that's a big one.
Oh, a dinosaur.
Important.
You know, the T-Rex had little arms.
It literally is like, okay, so this is the one where we're like abolishing the Department of Education. He's like, ooh, a biggie.
They even at one point touched on like, you know, travel ban stuff. And granted, I'm not the one at risk there, but that was the thing that lost me my previous visa.
Yeah.
And because I was out of the country.
It was a good time.
It was so sick, dude. It was so cold in England.
It was awesome, dude. Oh, Peeps was, did you get a look up on that?
Yes. So a Google search takes about 0.0003 kilowatts an hour of energy on each search, which is about 0.2 grams of carbon dioxide. And then ChatGPT is 2.9 watts per hour.
Jeez.
It's about 10 times more than that.
Yeah, the annual statistic.
Ooh.
You're right. Yeah. No, you're right. It's 10%, at least 10%.
You'd run the entirety of
Or 10
Finland for a day.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
so anyway,
insane.
this is all to say. That's why the market kind of reacted, because now there's an open source thing that competes with ChatGPT. It's completely free. It competes with OpenAI's $200 a month service that Sam Altman just tweeted about how people are using the $200 a month service more than they expected, and it's losing them lots of money. They like operate at a loss because what they want to do is they want to swell and control the market.
They want to pump.
Uber, one of the most funded companies in history. Amazon is like this as well. Back when in its early days, where it's like, okay, we're going to run at a loss forever because we can keep, as long as our valuation outpaces that, we'll be able to keep getting loans and stuff. So there's like this meme of like tech companies not being profitable because if you can capture the market, if Uber can make it like so that no one thinks about taxis, they can hike the prices in 10, 15 years or they can get to the point where they already have legislated their drivers to like not be people, basically, to not have like any employees or rights and things like that. And so then when they finally can just use self-driving cars, they can just, remove the emotion from the equation and the human rights from the equation and then just go robot mode.
And pitching something as non-profitable is arbitrary if the money's in motion. Yeah. I can buy the boat. What the fuck do I care?
So DeepSeek
has an adorable whale mirror as its logo.
Yeah. I mean, hey, it's still generative AI. And so it still probably generates a bunch of AI slop. And I think where I stand on stuff like this is like, there is value to it and application. I mean, for education, like a lot of these things, you can have them explain to you how to solve this math problem. Like, I think that's very valuable. But I do think that when it goes to like replacing people and all those things, like there needs to be checks and balances and regulations around these things that the pessimist in me knows that we will never outpace the rate of, I mean, it's Uber. I keep using Uber as the example because it's such an easy one that everyone's familiar with. Yeah. It's Uber.
It's the replacing product.
Yeah, it's Uber going into cities, not having all the proper permits, and then breaking the law, knowing that they're going to profit more than they will have to pay in legal fees and in settlements once all the dust settles. Or the fact that like back in, I want to say 2018, we could Google this, I don't know if you remember, in San Francisco, Uber just turned on self-driving Ubers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then someone fucking died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we never talk about it.
They were just like, oh, might be. Shit.
Because
Because they were
they're moving fast and breaking things.
it's a
baby.
lab rat. What do I,
Yeah,
hey.
and it's like someone who the driver, obviously there was a backup driver in the car. Oh, it's 2018. Yeah. But they didn't have permission to do this. They just did it, and then they got in a bunch of trouble. But I mean, a person died, and
Prosecutors ruled that Uber was not criminally liable for the crash.
yeah, and that's because
the car went to jail.
That's because the person in the driver's seat was like not being attentive, and they were supposed to be. But it's like, but that's the thing. It's like you can go on Reddit right now and look at people trying to like have physical hacks and like quite literally like devices they can put on their Teslas to turn off the autopilot supervision so that it could just stay on autopilot forever. Because normally if you like go into autopilot, you have to have your hand on the wheel. You have to like look at the road. But there are people like give people the tool and they will be reckless with it.
Yeah. With the AI, I do understand the impulse to want to. We talk about it a lot. I think not just because it's interesting, but also because it's like, I don't know, it's reflective of the moment. And if you're going to talk about pop culture or engage with it, you do have to acknowledge like its impact on art, the relationship we're having it, so and so. But I think it is like a little too easy to point to the tool because there's not really any action to take. Like it is kind of like with NFT stuff where it's like fun to point at and go like, that's like a bad idea. I don't like that.
I just invented guns. Guns don't kill people. People kill people.
Stop holding them.
Yeah.
But I just don't like I know it's like cathartic to make like the slop is slop and it is funny and it's fun to point at it and it is trash. And if someone's really spending their time going like anime girl slaying dragon and then post it, Butch Hartman put out a drawing, aka just artwork, aka that he generated on Grok of all things, of course, because he's a weird conservative. That is of like, I made a superhero boy, and it's just dog shit looking. It's just a Pixar boy with
the
a weird
hyper-real
S.
Pixar thing.
And it's like, I get it. Like it is, that kind of stuff is cringe, but like getting frustrated or like getting angry at tools is actually ideal for the people that want to use them. Because if, art production wants to replace people, then Warner Brothers would much rather you were arguing with ChatGPT than arguing with Warner Brothers. That's great that you have
right. It's
them.
It's you should get mad at your neighbor for not recycling and not the plastic industry.
Not the necessity
has always known that recycling plastic is very, very difficult to do efficiently and has put that on the consumer.
Yes, yeah.
Has created a world where it's like, okay, technically there's a way to, if everyone is working in perfect concert, you can reuse plastic. And because 95% of people are working in concert and 5% of people aren't, it's actually your fault that the planet is dying and not us, the plastic producers,
Sorry, pal. This episode is sponsored by Squarespace.
2025 is going to be the year that you take that side hustle to the next level. You're hustling, you're grustling, you're grinding, you're rhyming.
Are you rhyming and grustling? Yes, you are.
Thanks to our sponsor, Squarespace, you can go from an idea to a complete website in just an hour. We use Squarespace for our website.
Yes, we do.
And if we can do it, so can you. And thanks to Squarespace's design intelligence tool, you can now do it easier than ever. Maintain a really cool website with you don't have to code. I spent all these years learning how to code, and now I just use Squarespace. I'm a fool. I wasted 4 years. Whether it's creating a site or a full shop to sell products and services, Squarespace has the tools and templates you need to customize your site to your heart's content with their Fluid Engine editor.
When opening a shop on Squarespace, make use of Squarespace's integrated payment system so that when your users want to check out, they can actually use the most common payment method.
And if you need a place to start, they have tons of stunning professional templates with drag and drop editing that makes design a breeze.
So start building your dream site with a free trial if you go to squarespace.com/sadboys.
And when you're ready to launch your first site, use code SADBOYS for 10% off your first purchase. Thanks to Squarespace for sponsoring this episode of the pod. So all of that's to say, I think that people have a very like AI bad heuristic, which I think is fine. I like don't have that much a problem with it, but obviously like AI is here to stay. It is unfortunately embedding itself into all parts of our society, and that's generative AI. Other forms of AI have been a part of our lives for so long, but it's just become such a buzzword now that and it means such a specific thing when people talk about it. But
it's also a lot more fun to talk about. Like it is just more compelling when you're talking about Skynet.
Yeah, I mean the as slop as the slop is. I was looking at my Instagram reels, and it was like a shitty hyperreal 3D Pixar type animation of like a boy kung fu fighting a panda, and it had like an idea. It had like 1 million likes. And I was like, this is considerable engagement. Like people can really profit off of this at scale, because
I can say this looks shitty, but if they're selling tickets at the theater,
that's the thing. Matter. It's like, it doesn't matter how I feel about it. People are engaging with it, and that means that we have to be aware of it and talk about it. But I do think there are real applications. I just think that a lot of there's just a hype bubble. So whenever there's a hype bubble, it's going to be, you're promising everything but the kitchen sink. Larry Ellison, quite literally in this Stargate presentation, talked about how they were going to be able to create cancer vaccines with AI using like mRNA. And like, maybe I'm not signing up, but like that could,
till you do it.
Right. But it's like that could save people, assuming the scientific method and every other, hoop is jumped through in the scientific community. But we've not done none of that. We're doing the hype cycle. This is how you raise funding. You talk about this moonshot. I know what you're doing. Yeah. Yeah. You talk about this, like Elon does it. He's like famous for doing this, where everything's 2 years away. He's like, oh yeah, full self-driving is 2 years away. He said that for the past like 10 years, right?
We're going to create a tunnel that you can suffocate and die in.
Do you see he recently was tweeting, Cope tweeting about how actually public transit's really inefficient.
Oh, dude.
And Hyperloop is actually, and I'm like, brother, I used Hyperloop in Vegas at MagicCon, and I was like, this shit is dumb as hell.
It does not work.
It's so stupid. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. Did I say all the stuff I wanted to say? Yeah, no, it's just a part of our lives, and it's an important part of our commentary, because it's like we're talking about the world in front of us, and this is going to be a big part of it moving forward. So we asked... we have not tested this. I'm actually very curious. So one of the things about DeepSeek is that it tells you its train of thought while it's thinking. And that will allow, and ChatGPT has that same capability internally, but they don't expose it to the user. But with that information, you can make more educated, queries and prompts. And so we've put in to DeepSeek, which was free to sign up to. And you can also run DeepSeek locally. There's a lot of things. No one cares. I like sometimes I get too technical and in the weeds. I like don't think people care. But if they do, I can talk more about that kind of stuff in the future. I don't know. But so we gave a prompt, write the intro script to Sad Boys, the Sad Boys podcast, hosted by Jarvis and Jordan, for the boys to read at the start of the show.
We're putting China to the test. The entire nation.
Maybe write Jarvis John. I'm worried that it's going to think it's not a real podcast.
I'm always worried about that.
Yeah. It's a real podcast, guys. And then just Jordan Adika.
Just Jordan Adika?
That's your solo show. All right.
Lonely Jordan.
So write an intro script for the Sad Boys podcast hosted by Jarvis Johnson and Jordan Adika for the boys to read at the start of the show. Let's see.
Hold up.
Okay. Intro music fades in. A melancholic yet upbeat lo-fi beat plays. Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Sad Boys, the podcast where we talk about life, feelings, and all the stuff that makes us a little too emotionally aware.
That is really fun.
Keep going.
That's right. I'm Jordan Adika, your resident overthinker and professional feeler of feelings.
And I'm Jarvis Johnson, your friendly neighborhood sad boy who's just trying to figure out why I cried during that car commercial last week.
On this show, we dive into the messy, complicated, and sometimes hilarious world of mental health, relationships, and just existing as human beings in a world that feels like it's constantly on fire.
We're here to remind you that it's okay to not be okay, to laugh at the absurdity of life, and to maybe, just maybe, feel a little less alone in all of this.
So whether you're here for deep conversations, this is a long intro.
I know,
so
right?
whether you're here for deep conversations, the relatable rants, or just to hear two guys try to navigate their emotions without spiraling.
Welcome to the Sad Boys Club. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it, man.
It's
So
like,
they didn't know your intro.
I'm wondering.
They did the 2016 vibe.
Yeah, actually, they did because it feels like it read the website back when it was like the old bio of the podcast. That's kind of what I felt like I was reading. Wait, can you say what's the intro to the Sad Boys podcast? Oh, it's kind of hitting the same.
Try doing that, Cock. I mean, they're right. It's like a little, but like it is much more the 2016, 2017
Yeah, it is.
version
It
of the
is.
show.
Could you say, make a joke that YouTuber Jarvis Johnson would
Ooh.
understand? I know there's a lot of these things they have the YouTube like data in them, so I'm curious.
Jarvis would probably laugh at
That's
this
pretty
because it pokes fun at YouTube's chaotic algorithm.
Hey, Jarvis, why did the algorithm cross the road?
Plus, it's just the right amount of absurd.
Why did the algorithm cross the road?
Here's a joke tailored for Jarvis Johnson, referencing his love for pop culture, YouTube drama, and his self-aware humor.
Why did the algorithm cross the road?
To recommend a video titled "Why Crossing Roads is Problematic" to someone who is just trying to watch a tutorial on how to fix their Wi-Fi.
Pretty good.
That's
pretty
actually
funny.
pretty good.
It's
That's
like-
pretty good.
Interesting.
Fuck.
But yeah, okay. I was just curious. It's just ChatGPT, just from China and cheaper. But it's free for consumers. But you do, like, if you use their official one, their servers are hosted in China, and so they're not allowed to tell you about Tiananmen Square.
Oh.
And so, but if you run it locally, then it's not censored. It's just, I think quite literally the teaching thing, it says we have to, abide by the People's Republic of China's rules and can't say this.
Yeah, is Taiwan a country?
Yeah.
And see what Can you just put very quickly, describe the Sad Boys podcast hosted by Jarvis Johnson, etc. Yeah, except that Jarvis Johnson is played by Godzilla.
Okay.
It's an idea I've been fucking around with.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. This is the thing.
With a kaiju twist.
No. This is all thinking. This is all the thinking.
That's awesome.
And so it's like giving you the kind of, it's explaining its
dynamic.
thought process. It hasn't answered yet.
I like the dynamic between Godzilla, Jarvis, and Jordan is both.
Oh, wait, I
endearing
lied.
I think it's
and
just saying it.
absurd.
Oh, I thought it was I thought you asked it for.
I'd say just describe it.
Oh, describe it. I see.
The Sad Boys podcast hosted by Jarvis Johnson, played by
Maybe
Godzilla.
say give an intro of just the same exact prompt except
with
for,
a kaiju twist. That's not a bad idea.
with a kaiju twist is funny. You can just copy paste. Oh yeah. Oh, I like that.
Cue dramatic music with a faint roar in the background.
You say it.
Welcome to, well, I suppose, yeah, because
Yeah, 'cause I'm Godzilla.
too towering. Welcome to Sad Boys, the podcast where we talk about feelings, internet chaos, and the messy art of being alive, even when one of us is a 300-foot tall lizard. I'm Jordan Nadika, your resident human co-host, and this is my emotionally complex, city-stomping co-host, Jarvis Johnson, played by Godzilla. Oh, he's curious about something. It is both melancholic and... Together, we're here to break down toxic masculinity, cry over viral TikToks, maybe accidentally destroy a studio or two.
My bad.
Whether you're a sad boy, a sad girl, or just a sad kaiju, the three genders, trying to navigate this weird world, you're in the right place. Let's get vulnerable, let's get real, and let's try not to step on any skyscrapers while we're at it. This is Sad Boys, roars, tears, and all.
Cue Godzilla's iconic roar mixed with lo-fi beats. Dinosaur emoji, sparkle emoji. All right. Well,
Rawr.
that's enough of that.
I don't think that would be a good show.
I think that would be a good show.
The issue, I guess, would be the Godzilla element.
It was like it was.
Godzilla's a father or mother. We don't know Godzilla's gender, do we?
Yeah, and we shouldn't assume.
Did you just assume Godzilla's gender? What is
One
that?
of the
Where does that
fucking
meme come from?
boys.
I got that on a Hinge, like someone replied to a Hinge thing on my whatever. I got banned on Hinge for impersonating myself. If you see me on there, it's me. Leave me alone. Don't report me. It took me 2 weeks to get my account back.
You should make one of your prompts. What did the algorithm do when it crossed the road? What that was way off on the set.
I'm gonna say,
what did the algorithm do when it crossed the road?
I'm gonna say, lets out a low rumbling growl that is both melancholic and welcoming.
Steps on skyscraper. Not something Godzilla does, by the way. This episode is sponsored by the I'm Feeling Queer Today podcast.
Maybe you're on the lookout or the listen out for a queer podcast that makes you laugh, cry, feel inspired. Go ahead and check out I'm Feeling Queer Today.
Their new season explores the intersections of queer identity with gender, fashion, disability, neurodivergence, and geography.
From heartfelt storytelling to thought-provoking conversation, expect raw insights directly from the voices of young artists and producers in interviews with the queer professionals around them. Like, for example, hear from a queer business owner on redefining what it means to have a non-binary business model.
And you know what's cool? Apple included I'm Feeling Queer Today in their Pride collection this year.
I'm Feeling Queer Today Season 2 is available right now wherever you get your podcasts. Add it to your playlist. It's a beautiful celebration of young queer voices, and I think that's pretty cool.
Check it out.
So I watched, did we all watch this?
We watched.
Oh my
except
God.
for Peeps. Peeps
I watched
I did not see it yet.
I watched it a few hours ago. I watched it right before the show.
So real quick though, just want to give a content warning for, there's talk of like intense mental health episodes, thoughts of suicide, stuff in that zone.
I think obsessive behaviors and mental health crises that could elicit some.
Yeah. So just want to let you know before we jump into it that that's kind of the space that this documentary occupies.
As well as potentially disordered eating.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Much has been said about the tech millionaire, tech hundo millionaire who is trying to extend his life, Bryan Johnson. He's been a meme for a few years now.
Yeah, he's kind of like permanently mewing, and he's
he just looks, how old is he? Because please tell me it's 47
I
at
think
least.
he's like
I think 50s,
high 40s,
right?
47,
Please
48.
tell me it's high 40s, because if it's not, then that's bad. Can we look it up?
47.
I
How
don't-
many?
47.
Okay, good.
I just want to say, whatever. If you're attracted to him, great. But
nice, epic.
I just want to say he doesn't look real. That's the
Well,
thing. It's
that's
like an
'cause
uncanny.
He looks
thing about
unreal in the same regard that he would at 20 with that kind of build, because he
Yeah.
has a
He
kind of
does.
obscenely low body fat percentage.
He looks like Edward Cullen if
He sparkles.
if Robert Pattinson was actually a vampire.
if he like wasn't immortal and aged to 47. But Robert Pattinson doesn't look like Edward Cullen for what it's worth. Isn't Robert Pattinson like 45 at this point? How old is he?
No, he's
39.
37. That's my guess.
38.
38.
38.
Hey, I said 39.
I said 37.
Wow.
And I said 38.
But anyway, Robert Pattinson looks great. I'm saying this because Edward Cullen is extremely pale and doesn't see the sun, and so too does Bryan Johnson. The reason we're talking about Bryan Johnson is because there's a new Netflix documentary called Don't Die.
Okay, I will.
And we all watched it in horror, I would say, actually.
So, okay,
Well,
it was a roller coaster for me.
Okay, so I'll give a little synopsis.
Yes,
so
please.
basically, it tells the story of Bryan Johnson. It's produced by some journalists who are like, I would say 60-40 on like pro against Bryan Johnson. I think that
its production method is what happens when you make it is a Netflix documentary deep in its bones. It's either this about a guy falsely accused of being murdered or something, or it's like, this guy's awful interesting, but we won't say anything too conclusive.
It's like it has his parents talking about him.
Yeah, picture like mid-distance confessionals mixed with slow zooming shots of him as a kid, and then a wipe to his school, and then B-roll of him walking around his house making smoothies.
So it was directed by Chris Smith, who he's directed a lot of great documentaries, including American Movie, which was like a cult hit when I
Directed Fire, one of the Firefest documentaries.
Jim and Andy, that story about when Jim Carrey was being annoying.
And so, like, you know,
he did Devo stuff. That's cool.
A legit documentary filmmaker, and Ashley Vance was one of the executive producers. Is that true?
And that was the guy who kept talking. That guy
is a journalist,
and he started like skeptical, but ended up kind of pro him at the end, which I wasn't on board for.
He kind of admitted that he goes back and forth.
Oh, he wrote a 2015 biography of Elon Musk. You have to spend so much time embroiled in the world of these people, and
Stockholm syndrome.
I was gonna say you start drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit. You start drinking the health juice.
I think
that's kind of what I was gonna say about the roller coaster of watching this documentary is that I could feel myself being like, he's right.
Well,
I agree with him.
Documentary
like,
craft.
Wait, no, I don't.
Craft
know.
of the language of documentary it's almost completely unavoidable to not elicit a little bit of sympathy because it's a study of a person and you're spending so much time in their life.
Sympathy, I think, is different from what I'm talking about. Like there were times when I was like sympathetic towards him because, spoiler alert, he was Mormon.
We should say this is, sorry, just to triple confirm, because I might have interrupted Jarvis from saying it. This is a story about a man called Bryan Johnson, multimillionaire, who is doing everything he can to stay alive.
He was the founder of Braintree, which acquired Venmo and then sold to PayPal for like $800 million. Just to get a sense of this man's wealth, they didn't raise outside funds. So when they sell to Venmo, there are not a lot of investors to pay.
He pays tax and then
he probably made like hundreds of millions of dollars off of this sale.
But it is not a story about a strange man who is overly invested in staying young and will even siphon his son's plasma for that purpose. It is a horror story about the dangers of Mormonism.
He was Mormon and he had daddy issues in the fact that his father was
Mormon.
Dealt with addiction
and then was incarcerated
and also was Mormon.
And also was Mormon. So there's religion trauma, there's family trauma.
He's separated from, he has 3 kids, married at 24, separated from his wife. His wife and 2 of those kids are still in the church.
Yes.
And so they are very like estranged in that regard. And then his oldest son
left the church.
Yes. And for the 150 days or something before he goes to college, he stays with Bryan. And that is the time frame in which you're seeing this documentary.
This is the same son who I think has been the focal point of a lot of the stories because it is about the plasma transferring that they've done.
Yeah.
Blood transfers.
So I think the interesting thing to me was that he was like, I was depressed. I wanted to die, having a mental health crisis. And instead of thinking, oh, I should get help from a mental health professional, he says, I'm going to stop listening to my brain. I'm going to focus solely on physical health.
He's like, I'm going to become an automaton. I have some quotes.
Me too. I was like taking notes furiously.
Because it is literally a story about someone coping with their mental health in a weird way.
Yeah.
Not to shame. I'll shame this guy a little bit. It's weird. And
well, especially because he is denying that mental health is the avenue that anyone should go down.
Yeah, because he's literally has like an AI or an algorithm that like kind of programs how he spends his days.
With an obsessive degree of regulation, 128 pills a day.
Yeah. He said the conscious mind is desperate to hold on to power. We can't trust our minds. And then the conclusion is, and the thing is, he presents a lot of real problems and real challenges, but the solution is always a zag when it's like go to therapy is maybe one of the things you should try.
But that's not disruptive, baby.
And this is the case with a lot of like tech guys.
Brazilian jiu-jitsu is the same as therapy.
And so he says we should listen to AI. He talks about how our brains are, programmed by these social media algorithms. And it is literally like, I am having these mental health problems, and also I have existed in a very stressful environment that I self-medicated with like being a workaholic.
Mhm.
And then that stopped being rewarding
He
to
hit
me.
a breaking point with that as well. Yeah.
Because it's also like a thing that is, and he calls out some of these things that is like, okay, I agree with the assessment of the problem.
Mhm.
Like we celebrate people pulling all-nighters in tech and people like kind of working themselves to the bone and having no work-life balance.
that was
is,
a very cathartic moment when he did call that out specifically.
yeah, it's like objectively, that is a true thing that exists in the world. And then
a religious doctrine for a different community. It is.
Yeah.
They do operate the same.
but
yeah.
then the solution to that was I have to turn off my brain and then listen only to my body.
I have a direct quote where he says,
I have a-
demoting my mind and elevating my body.
Such a
Demoting my
tech
mind
way of
and
putting it,
elevating my
too.
body.
Putting it on an independent development plan.
I didn't want consciousness at all.
Yes.
That's a cry for help, brother.
Yeah.
Like,
Actually, that is an interesting thing, even in that section. And it is a little bizarre that they have candid camera footage of him laying in bed severely depressed, whatever. Not the documentary. His family
His
does
family
from his family
does.
home years ago. Presumably, his wife at the time was the one filming him in bed, miserably
yeah,
depressed.
yeah.
But anyhow, it definitely is indicative of like how he couldn't express any of these things while in his very isolated and unsupportive community. The part where he was talking about like, I make a deal with the devil to stop existing.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's like
yeah.
It was a very religious way of phrasing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and very roundabout.
Yeah. But very genuinely, the topsy-turvy thing about this documentary, and it's always difficult talking about documentary because we're trying to like summarize the thesis of it, but also the actual content of it. No text is sincere. You can't, especially a 90-minute edit. There's just no way. But it did have a lot of insights that changed my understanding of the situation beyond just a Peter Thiel,
Yeah.
Bezos style, I'm so wealthy and narcissistic that I need to live forever. That almost feels like the last domino that fell, when the first domino that fell is, I don't have a support community and I'm very lonely.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
He talks so much about how he's bad at relationships. He alludes to like a guaranteed fight with my partner, like
Yeah.
as a part of his day to day.
I would get home, guaranteed fight, have dinner. Yeah.
He says at one point that, again, a quote that I kind of loved because it says a lot about him. If we look at the science, humans thrive in community. Dude, just say I'm lonely.
Yeah.
I'm a lonely guy. Throughout the whole documentary, he's lonely.
And he doesn't have a community now. Like nothing is
And he's starting to get it in the worst way
Yeah.
possible.
from a bad source.
So, and I'll explain what I mean by that. But first, I want to read a quote I wrote that's, I think probably an addendum to what you said. The mind is not a reliable source of judgment. I needed a different way of being. Here's the quote. Removing my mind is the best thing I've ever done. It looked like he took his brain out.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, if it was like, you could probably pitch that as a mistranslation of like Buddhist suffering, like ridding myself of suffering was the
Yeah.
best, or like ridding myself of my dharma and finding true Zen peace. You could reinterpret that language-wise into that, but it's just so like
But I actually,
self.
that I found kind of relatable because when I've been at my most depressed, I just wanted someone to tell me how to live.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So
true
there
guidance.
were moments where I was like, dude, I get it. Like,
Yeah.
I want an algorithm to tell me what to eat, to tell me what to do throughout my day. That would be incredible.
And you
That is
believe,
not living.
You know for
That's
a fact
not
that
living a
there
life.
is life and there is living and there are things you both aspire to and want to get back to, but I don't know, maybe I'm remembering the like wanted to make that deal with the devil to not exist thing, because that really resonated, especially for me like about 2 years ago, where I was like, I'm 3, I guess. I'm defeated, I'm done, I'm just so cooked. But I do believe that things are going to get better. It's
Yeah.
because I can't wait anymore.
Yeah.
Like that is the issue. And it really, to me, seeing that scene in particular where he's just lying in the bed, narrating over it, saying like, I just want to make this deal just not exist anymore. I'm like, brother, I'm with you. And but I don't know, maybe somebody is going to be annoying enough to get frustrated with me for not liking Mormonism. There is no better indication of how a super insular community benefits you and robs you. Like as soon as he leaves Mormonism, he goes from feeling kind of lonely and isolated and overworked to being so abandoned that he kind of black pills.
Yeah.
He kind of goes straight to like, well, I don't have suicidal ideation anymore. I don't exist.
Yeah.
I have achieved
I have
it.
never believed someone less than when he was doing an interview at the end of the documentary and he goes, happier than I've ever been. I'm like, maybe. But the thing is, it's weird because we're talking about, and I get from the audience perspective right now, it sounds very humanizing, right? Because we haven't, I wanted to front porch all of this so that we could talk about the weirdest shit I've ever seen in this documentary. So now let's turn the page. We empathize. We all deal with our mental health in different ways.
There's wrong ways.
Wait a minute.
Normally, I'm like, dude, whatever works for you, great. But then some of this stuff, I was like, no, not whatever works for you.
I'm here to yuck yums.
Yes.
This yum is yuck worthy.
And also, before we get into this, I just want to say, I myself was not raised Mormon, but my high school was predominantly Mormon. I lived in a predominantly Mormon town. My ex-husband was Mormon or raised Mormon. His family was Mormon. I know quite a bit about the religion and what it does to people. And so I'll be inserting some of that information throughout.
I mean, there's even a part where it's like when he was younger, he just wanted to be Joseph Smith. It's like you could tell that he was like searching for like a recipe.
Yes.
And yeah, okay, so I guess we can start with the turning yourself into a lab rat.
Yes.
So he takes
Excitedly.
He takes like 120 pills. It ranges because the algorithm decides, I guess, but he takes like 120 pills a day, and then he eats his like his meal, all of his like health food meals.
That the algorithm also decides.
He does his like special exercises and tracks everything. Everything's monitored. He has like an assistant who like works and films him and monitors stuff. He's like always getting, but the thing
makes
is,
sure none of the lights are turned on in his house. He has the darkest house in the world.
He doesn't expose himself to the sun. He has a lamp in his bathroom that he turns on when he's doing his morning thing that simulates sunlight instead of going outside.
Yeah.
Wears a baseball cap to prevent balding.
Oh yeah, he has like this. He does this like laser treatment thing.
That was one thing where I was like, okay, some of this is
That's
not
vanity.
for not dying.
Yeah.
Some of this is vanity. And and like he gets dermabrasion on his face. That's not for not dying.
Yeah.
You can have wrinkles and be alive.
Which
Yeah.
is, hey, fine.
If
But
that's what you want to do, just call it what it is.
it'd be like if I was just like, yeah, you know, I make sure to make a smoothie every morning and I take my supplements, maybe I do creatine if I'm consistently working out. And then, I'll play some video games for a bit. Part of my healthy, optimized living, which I do, but that's insane for me to like take that into some kind of
It's weird
ethical
because
direction.
there's a part of me that like in the old videos of him, he looks more human to me.
yes.
He has
And kind of cute.
yeah, he's like looks like a normal guy,
Yeah.
and he's not as pale and like.
Yeah.
And it's like it's not that being pale is wrong. It's that you've min-maxed the sun out of your life because of the risks of being in the sun.
I think he's very much in that like correlation, mixing up correlation with causation and stuff like that, where he's saying, well, I do all of these behaviors and I feel better than when I was miserable.
Right.
So it must be that all of these behaviors are what made me less miserable.
Like survivorship bias or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, okay. If you're hungry every morning and then you start eating every morning, then you can pretty comfortably tie those together. But out of the 128 pills you're taking every morning and the not going in the sun element, and then 1,000 other factors, it might be worth trying
He's
not
like-
doing the sun thing anymore.
And the one key thing that is brought up again and again, because they also interview experts of anti-aging science. So these are people with PhDs, MDs, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And they're professors at universities and that sort of thing. They're doing clinical research. And again, they say, cool, I'm glad he's doing this for himself. but it's not helpful to the science
this isn't
community.
science.
This isn't
Yeah.
scalable.
We need a large demographic of people.
Well, he's taking so many things, and he's taking so many things that you can't
tell what's working and what's not.
working and what's not. And then a journalist or somebody asked him if he wanted to contribute to this scientific study to see if this thing that he was taking was like legit. And then he just blocked them.
They were like, you spent $2 million on yourself. What if you donated $2 million to this actual clinical research for a drug that you're using to see if it works? And he blocked the guy.
He takes roughly $2 million in treatments a year, which is funny because it's like double what the press said about like LeBron James's body care. I sent you a clip. This is from the end of the documentary because we are going to talk about his son. His son is going to college at the end of this documentary, and I'm going to show you this clip and just see I just want to see how we feel about it.
Do you see it? Right there.
So they're moving him into his dorm.
This is perfect. Look at the fan. That's nice.
These are nicer than I have. Do you have a preference on which side you want exposed to your skin?
That's the part where I was just like, what is he? The sun? Which side? Oh.
To expose myself? Well, he's going out after being in here, man. It's not just the window that's
like,
gonna get him.
It's like he's gonna, I hope he has like the most normal college experience ever, because I need him to have influences other than Bryan Johnson in his life.
It's like a crawl, walk, run where he was crawling. He was in an environment where he felt very oppressed and very not himself in his initial community, and then had to cut off his community. Then clearly has like a very affable relationship with his dad. Like his dad clearly loves him, and they show approximately 200 hours of them playing ping pong every time they want to show that they're homies. And then I was relieved that he's going to college. I think
there
it's like
was
a good
really sweet footage of them together.
I like literally wrote down like, oh, he's not going to be okay when his son goes to college because he's like never had a closer relationship with someone allegedly. I'm like, this man needs a real friend.
Well, that's what he kept saying. He's my best friend. And it's like, no, he's your son.
Yes.
There's a difference.
It's almost like if you made a character study about some celebrity. Like we're doing a character study about Tom Cruise and this weird stuff he's done. Except we're capturing all the footage from when he went to Bonnaroo. And it's like, well, that's not a good, funnily enough, it's also unscientific from an artistic point of view, because you're taking the 150 days where his biggest issue, a lack of connection and community, is being solved.
Band-aided for
only
just this
100
time.
meters.
Yeah.
And there's like, well, what about before and after this? He literally, doesn't he say like, I wasn't going to go any further with my stuff till Talmadge moved out.
Yes.
So now it's time to go crazy.
So first is he does plasma exchange with his dad and his son. And they
son gives it to Bryan, Bryan gives it to his dad.
Yeah, and the idea behind that, I guess, is that it makes in rats, it like makes them epigenetically younger or something.
Particularly for like neurological issues. So his dad reaches out to him again after very little contact and being cut off. All of them reaches out to him specifically because it's like, well, okay, my son's a health nut and I'm starting to get scared. I'll write a paragraph, have no idea what it says. I'll like forget where I am. I'm struggling to drive, that kind of stuff. And he's like, preventative or not, I want to try something. Bryan reaches out and he says, okay, well, try A, B, and C. And also there is a plasma exchange treatment we can try.
Yeah, come with me.
And that dominoes later into his son. Now, we can't say either way. The documentary frames it as though Talmadge suggests that they did the same
but
thing.
we hear that through Bryan. He's like, I asked Talmadge if he'd want to give his plasma. We could do it like a generational thing. And Talmadge said, of course, yes, immediately.
Talmadge's perspective is often as told by Bryan. Like he doesn't talk very much. He seems like a very shy fella.
He's busy playing ping pong.
But I also think that moment was actually quite sweet to witness, the plasma being given from grandson to father to grandfather. but only because I was like, oh, this is the first time you all are having quality time together.
Yeah, and they had the photo shoot and stuff, and it's just like, just play a board game. Like, go to like
you could do other stuff and have this quality time and feel this way.
I feel like I have the same, like, I feel like the current moment has been maybe a little overbranded as the age of loneliness, right?
Yes.
And I think a lot of that's often attributed to social media, that's a black mirror, actually not a phone, can you believe it? And that's a huge contributing factor, yes. But again, correlation and causation, it's, well, why do we have such a natural inclination to isolate ourselves and doom scroll as opposed to spend time with people, which is a thing in most cases that you can do. Even if it's not a friend, you can go to a coffee shop. Why is it that this is the more appealing thing immediately? Why is this the addictive, obsessive behavior that we default to? And I think it's because far more, aside from the tool being available to isolate yourself, the thing, I think it matters that the tool that's isolating us is still nominally about building a community and spending time amongst people and seeing it. The issue is that when you go on Instagram and you obsessively spend time with that to simulate experiences with people, then you look at yourself and you go like, well, I still feel terrible.
Yeah.
Why? I'm doing the thing. Because it is just a simulation. It is.
Which I think is what
it's diet soda.
He experiences that by the end of the documentary. He's like, okay, my son's gone. I'm doing all this stuff to feel good, and yet I'm sad. What am I missing?
Maybe I should do it harder.
I'm missing community. I'm going to tell a bunch of strangers to go on a hike with me.
Yes.
Yeah, and so he has these don't die meetups that, terrible name.
Yeah.
Don't die meetups across the world where kind of people look to him as this
cult leader.
He
says it in the documentary.
He
That's
says
not my
it.
word.
He owns it.
It's a
and then
cult.
Talmadge says, like, there's a thing between him where Talmadge is like, well, yeah, my dad kind of has a cult to him. And he's like, you think I'm a cult leader? And he's like, yeah, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It just is. And I'm like, I think it might be a bad thing.
It could be a bad thing.
Yeah. And
I'd say that's when it becomes a bad thing, actually.
And at his like run club or whatever, he has this thing where he's like, the only cult where we're telling you to go to bed at 8:30.
Yeah,
and then like makes a joke. about it.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
a cult that tells you to go to bed early.
I'm like, I think a lot of cults tell you when to go to bed.
can you show, Jacob, I just texted you two horrifying images from Bryan Johnson's house, and then we'll... So
we have to
yes, LMAO.
Okay.
so as Talmadge is packed his bags, he's like leaving the mansion, by the way. As he's leaving
Dark mansion.
As he's leaving the dark mansion that Lex Luthor lives out of the summer, as Talmadge is leaving, he walks past a cardboard cutout, and I saw it blurry first. It's of shirtless Talmadge holding a vial of blood, and then later. The cameraman, thank God bless this cameraman, does the thing where you focus on like a subject in the foreground and then you rack focus to the background to see him like, working on his standing desk.
There is something eerie because yes, I'm glad that they have developed a relationship in whatever way that they can, and I, for what it's worth, at least in the clips we see, Talmadge seems relatively well adjusted and like very self-aware about his childhood experience. He doesn't talk about it like, yes, I was a sinner, but now I've become... No, he's like,
I think that going to college is going to be amazing. I'm like truly, so I feel like he has all the tools to be successful and become his own person and build community and stuff.
Including infinite wealth, but I'm just glad he's getting out of
Bryan's house because we have it. I've been saving this.
Yes, we need
I have
to
a
talk
clip.
about it.
I have a clip. Maybe you've still been on board with Bryan. You say he doesn't seem like such a bad guy. Well,
he's just a normal
This
dad.
clip happens maybe 20 minutes into the doc, and it was when I went from this guy's weird to this guy is a fucking freak.
I'm impressed you can do that after that many. Wow. That's art. I wish I had Talmadge's legs.
Okay.
He's kind of the perfect specimen.
Yep.
That is horror movie music, and I think it's appropriate.
Right before he puts him in amber.
But yeah, like
So I think we need to talk about the final boss of creep stuff is that he tracks his son's boners.
Which
that is...
let's not forget,
His son is
omitted from the documentary.
omitted from the documentary.
Whether it was just not happening yet or removed is...
Because he has data on everything. I don't know how to say this any other way. There's a point in the documentary where they say the age of his butthole is 18 years old. Why do we know that?
Well,
it's that we fit game.
Whenever they say like, oh, his biological age is 5 years younger than he actually is, I'm like, all of this data, it feels so precarious. Like, how did we get to the number 5?
Yeah, well, that's a really good point, is that like they do keep referring to anti-aging, skipping the term epigenetic. They very frequently are like, yeah, it's about like reversing age, and like these are human concepts. This isn't like an objective way of phrasing things. It's a branded version of health. They could just use a grading scale. They could use 1 to 100 on percentage, quality-wise. But they use age because we're so narcissistic, we want to see it literally younger. What do you mean you have an 18-year-old's rectum? How many have you reviewed? What the fuck are you talking about?
The major number that Bryan is trying to reduce is his rate of aging.
Yes.
So he, by the end of it, as of the end of this documentary, it reminded me of that grind set guy where for every year that we age, Bryan ages 0.64 years.
Yeah.
So he's almost aging like twice as slow. So it's really just like trying to, and we don't know how low that number can get. If that number reached 0, then you would like stop aging, right? Is the idea.
The way that they explained it that made me understand a little bit more is that when we age 12 months, 1 year, he ages only 8 months.
Right. And by the end, he ages 7 months.
Yes.
But whereas in reality, logistically speaking, scientifically speaking, he is healthy. Yeah. This like rebranding as something shareable, as postable, is so insane.
Yeah.
What is the DS game? The brain health DS?
Brain age.
That's all this is.
Yeah,
it's the giant doctor's head floating and saying, "Wow, you solved that language puzzle."
It
really
takes
quickly.
half the documentary for them to talk to somebody who's like, "Hey, this isn't science. This isn't real." There's like this Harvard guy who they asked him if Bryan Johnson was like, "I've met him," and these are like people who are studying aging, and there is lots of value to understanding aging because it affects health outcomes for not just the very wealthy.
Right. It could be like aging cells includes, Alzheimer's, cancer, like all these things that we're trying to cure.
Like cancer is it's been described to me as an inevitability if you live long enough.
Yes.
It's every time a cell regenerates, you roll a smaller and smaller dice.
Yeah. And so that's the thing where it's like, okay, aging research is going to be very beneficial, but this is like a fetishization of it.
Yeah. So I would say that he fetishizes youth and has placed all of that onto his son, Talmadge. Here's a tweet where he says, "Nighttime erection data from my 19-year-old son, Talmadge Johnson."
Tagging him is insane. Bro, I'm like, if I'm Talmadge, dude, get me off of this Elon Musk's internet now. Dude. Like, untag me. Like, I would click the thing in Twitter that says, like, untag me, block him. My friends could see this shit, bro. I'm trying to be a normal college student. What do you mean?
Well, unless he wants everyone to see his data.
Talmadge says at the end of the documentary, he would like a girlfriend.
Yeah.
What?
That could be cool.
All of the environmental factors aside, he's going to be just fine. I do fear that the only risk I can see is being too close to Bryan Johnson.
Yeah. Raise children to stand tall, be firm, and be upright. He is talking about penises. That is nothing to do with emotions.
It has nothing to do with rearing a child.
I mean, that actually is that's hardcore poster energy where like everything has to have some kind of philosophical value to it. It cannot be some arbitrary thing I'm posting about. It is a moral victory for me to post like my Balatro high score.
It may as well say raise your child to be a wolf.
And that gets to another problem I have with Bryan Johnson.
Is his dick is not hard for as long?
Is that he just wants to be an influencer and a YouTuber.
Yes.
That's what it boils down to, is that he is doing all of this for views and likks.
What did you see? Wait, go back up. The original quote tweet. Checking in on the anti-aging guy and his large son. He's very tall. My large. I would love a large son.
Bills itself is the world's first and only nighttime erection tracking device.
What?
For what?
Where do you put it on
It's
your...
called Atom Health.
I'm not going to be able to sleep with something on my
What
ween.
does it look like?
Wait,
relax.
what thing? Zip.
It also there's the stats, like one is quality. What does quality mean?
Color.
Quality erection. Hey, ladies. No, like Talmadge quote tweeted and said, "I'm grateful for the way my dad has raised me." Look, I'm not going to criticize this kid. He's a kid. He's learning, you know.
I'm actually not upset. I'm laughing. It's fine.
Also, I do think Talmadge is like I said, you know, this all goes back to religion trauma and family trauma. So he wants to connect with his dad really badly because there was a large portion of his childhood where his dad wasn't in his life.
And he doesn't feel understood by other people in his life, and he feels like his dad understands him.
He says
when
in the
did he feel
documentary-
bad? When he wasn't doing any of this? And when did he feel good? When a lot
he
of this
started
was
doing
happening.
this. So I get it.
But
Absolutely.
again, it's like it's
There's
tainted
no
data
fault
because
of him. Yeah.
he's also just spending time with his dad.
Yeah.
Like it's like, you know, if all of us went on vacation and then while you're on vacation, you're like, I'm so much less stressed. Maybe I just love Honduras. Maybe I need to live in Honduras.
live in Honduras, and then you move to Honduras, and you're like, why am I depressed?
I hate my fucking job. What am I doing?
Also, a few things that we definitely didn't notice. There's a video where Steve Aoki tries his morning juice, and I wrote down, Steve Aoki, you are capping, brother. He drinks it. He goes, this is so good. I'm like, Steve Aoki, you were a fucking liar.
And then plays a big motion graphic for some reason.
Another example of Bryan Johnson being an influencer. That was for social media.
Oh, dude, when he talks
to
about
lead, to help.
He talks about how him and his assistant are like doing like short form stuff. Craziest way I've ever heard this described. He talks about having a few videos go viral as we've had a few victories.
Yeah.
Victories. As I'm actually gonna unironically start referring to, like, whenever Austin edits a short that gets over 1 million views, I'm gonna call it a victory.
Yeah, we've had
in battle.
We've had a good handful of quests completed lately, and
yeah.
You get
And
a
then
1 out of
the
10
other-
on the YouTube scale, and you're like, yeah, that's a victory.
dub.
The other problem I have with all of this is that he is selling product.
Yes.
When you get to selling product on your website.
Yeah, I mean, so there is a point where they call him a grifter, right? And then my first instinct was like, this guy is so rich. No way he's like grifting, because like, what does he have to, there's no way he could gain like the type of wealth that you accumulate through Silicon Valley, a company being purchased, especially at the time.
Especially when you have no backers to pay.
You will never in a million years be able to make that kind of money selling like influencer affiliate
plus
products.
It snowballs, right? It builds on wealth builds on itself.
I gotta say, I don't think he is grifting.
No. That's the thing. It's a complicated thing. I still think that's a problem that he's selling shit though. Whether or not he believes it, that's what decides if it's a grift, right? I think that if he believes his fancy olive oil is any different than like store-bought olive oil, I believe he believes it's special. But every expert looked at it and goes, this is fucking olive oil.
Well, like plenty of people that we've worked with or worked around in the industry we used to be in are a lot like this.
I know what you mean.
Where similar to how people that are too online, things only matter if they are published, things only matter if they're expressed. People that are too industry and too tech and too biz oriented, something only matters when it's work. Something only matters when it's revenue. It's like, this could make $1 a year. What matters is that it is published. You can put it in a cart, you can buy it, and you can order it, and my face
I'm
is
not
there.
posting on TikTok. I'm going into battle and I'm achieving victories.
I'm Attila the Hun of sorts.
So the other thing, and I just had this thought, it's not for the money, it's for the cult.
Yeah.
This is a tool of controlling everyone who's in his sphere of influence.
I'm making dinner for all of you.
Yeah. It's a way that
matter where you are.
It's now they all share the blueprint stack, you know?
I'm having ice cream. My ice cream.
And that, I think, so whether or not he's grifting, I don't care because like all of the results are the same. So yes, he's selling product, and it to experts, it doesn't seem like it's special. It's just branded in his way, and it's more expensive. Many such cases, right? Also, our merch is available at no, just kidding.
And it will make you feel better.
Right. And that's the thing we've always said. It's like, okay, yeah, you know, this is, you know, or our Patreon. It's like, it's a product. It's not going to improve your life. If you feel like $5 is worth getting an extra podcast, then head on over to patreon.com/sadboys.
But if we were like, and it's like morally righteous to do that.
So a couple more things we have to mention. He's being sued by his ex-girlfriend. For being controlling and all of this other stuff. And he is in a documentary about him where he gets to kind of frame it as
don't challenge it at all.
It's like, because then they lose access to Bryan.
Yeah.
And so that it's very sympathetic to him.
The claim is that he kicked her out of the house when she had cancer.
Which is insane.
Because her
bad
life
energy or
didn't
whatever.
align with his goals.
A net loss.
He hit her with
She was a net loss.
He hit her with like an affable email letting her go, yeah, I actually have a meeting at 3 that Bryan just booked in a private room.
He utilitarianed her away.
It's just not an optimal development for us to be doing this in the same space right now.
And so she was suing him because this is what the public court, record said.
He didn't listen to her demand. Don't die.
That he took away her livelihood by saying he would support her and having her move in with him. And then when she had cancer, dumped her, kicked her out, gave her severance.
He gave her severance?
I think he gave her $5,000 or something.
$5,000
really
is
bad.
$5,000 a month is what he was.
$5,000 a month.
Oh, okay.
Still not great.
But
you could buy like 2 of the supplements on Blueprint for that. You could buy a bottle of olive oil.
You could buy Speed of Aging and supplement stack.
You could buy his t-shirt in Impact Font.
He framed her suing him as, well, if you're rich, people are going to come after you and for greed and they just want money, blah, blah, blah.
The reason I don't think he's a reliable narrator is everything we've said thus far, plus the way he talks about online haters.
Yep.
So the way he talks about online haters, because it's similar framing where he's like the me against them thing.
He was in general, and the way he kind of talks about women in the abstract is a little.
I wrote, he's on dating apps! Exclamation point! Question mark! Question mark! Question mark! Question mark! Yeah, he talks about how he's. I make a list where I'm like, you're not gonna want to be with me. Actually, but I haven't been able to get her to go away.
I don't know if you can handle this.
I don't know if you can handle this. And then I inject myself with 9,000 things a day. I don't want to bring too much attention to this, but the eating disorder point. Yeah. There's a point where, so he's got all this health food, right? And he eats 2,000 calories a day, whatever. There's a point where someone like one of the like fitness influencers that he's working with asked him, you ever get hungry? There's like all this intuitive stuff about like listening to your body and blah, 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 which is funnily counter to what he's doing here. Where he says, I have a computer. The worst moment of my day is the last bite.
Yeah.
Because I'm hungry all the time. And I'm like, well, then eat, brother.
That sucks.
You look good enough.
No, I'm listening to the computer that's listening to my body.
I was like, so are you listening to your body or not? Because that feels like it's in conflict.
He's not an algorithm telling him what to do.
So that's not a body, is the AI yet. Again, the reason that I am inclined to believe that things are not the way that Bryan frames them as is because when they show us examples of haters of his, it's just good faith criticism and a little bit of light ribbing. And he's deluded himself into thinking that like these people hate his guts. But also he doesn't either. He's believing the lie or he genuinely doesn't understand, which I could buy, why people are making fun of him. Because when they're doing the plasma exchange, I can't even remember why he says this. He goes, all right, haters, what do you say about this?
Oh, it's because his plasma is a good color.
It's a good color.
It's a good color. But I'm like,
what, you thought it was a bad color?
And I wrote in parentheses, while getting his child's plasma. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they're gonna. What do you mean, haters? What do you say about this? They pointed it and they go, "This is why I hate."
And it's so funny because he's so deluded himself into thinking he's making the world a better place when he is only serving himself.
Which is fine.
Go
Go
but
ahead.
don't try to frame it that you're helping the world. Because he's like, at one point he's like, it's hard. The world is hard. We're putting all of these chemicals in our body and blah, blah, blah. And we work too much and yada, yada. And that's why I'm doing this. And it's like,
not have to work too
for
much.
you,
Yeah,
not for anyone else.
He gives it like a soft acknowledgement really early on, and then the entire rest of the documentary, he's like, I'm not saying that everyone can do this. I know not everyone can necessarily afford to do this, but I'm doing the best thing I can and am able to for me. And then the entire rest of the documentary is about how he's objectively better and people should do the same.
Yeah.
People work too much, so they should stop doing that.
Yeah, don't die. That's actually an order.
Hey.
Don't die.
Stop
it.
Adding to the point that what he's doing is like not safe is that he goes and gets experimental gene therapy in
Honduras.
some special part of Honduras that isn't like has the right legislation. Or
I think it's like an island, right?
Yeah, it's
they
off
have
of
like an
Honduras.
Ayn Rand island.
Yeah, it's like they're looking the other
way.
way, and so they do this special gene therapy on him, and apparently after the doc, his muscle mass is increased by 7%.
Yeah, but we don't know the cause of that.
No, but also
They're just assuming it's the gene
also
therapy.
is that health? Like I'm like,
no, I mean, it's another. It's okay, but if you want to get a hair transplant, if you want to get any kind of, I think in general, like especially guys like this are like very averse to saying it's gender affirming. Yes, it is. Like, don't be silly. Like, he's getting jacked because that makes him feel more secure in his presentation. It's what he wants to look like, and that feels nice. But again, no, it's optimization.
Yeah.
It's morally right. It's ambitious. It's disruptive. Nothing can be like Dwayne Johnson
I wanna be a
does
big tough guy.
steroids and eats weird and works out all the time so that he looks jacked and is in movies. It doesn't also have to be that he's doing some kind
he
of
dyes
moral.
his hair, right?
Yes.
Because
It
Well, he's
changes
like-
color
he's like
throughout
ginger when he's
yeah,
like a
in the
kid or
fucking
something.
in the flashbacks, he's got red hair.
It's really weird.
And then also, I realized that's probably why he doesn't have facial hair anymore because it's not going to grow in the color of his.
No, but also he
has
gets
laser?
dermabrasion. Like,
Does that make it so you can't grow?
I don't know. I
Guess
don't
he
really
can't get
actually.
to it.
They just kind of briefly show it. They
Yeah.
didn't explain what it was.
I could kind of see him getting laser hair removal.
He looks like he's had all the hair removed. Like he looks so smooth.
It's like his whole torso is hairless.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like the thing is, it's like when people change their appearance through whatever means they want. Not my business.
Not my business.
It's like it's the whole package and selling it as like a health thing. And is this like I'm actually extending my life? I'm aging half as much as you, and this is all a part of it, and you can be a part of my cult.
And it's benefiting everybody.
Also, here's my son's erection date in case you wanted that.
I get my Invisalign and I go like, well, I fixed my teeth because I didn't want to be a
It's
fucking
weird because I
loser.
think it's like him going like I feel like there's a jealousy. Now this is me getting in my psychotherapist chair, which I am not qualified, so I'm just gonna say some random stuff. It feels like there's jealousy, like in that, you can do that and after doing all these other exercises. And then
Yes, I wish I had your
when
legs.
he shows the erection data, he shows his side by side so you can see that they have the same age of erection or whatever. It's like almost like, look at me, I'm also a young boy.
Don't even worry about it.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
I mean,
2 minutes,
ultimately, I feel like he just wants to be revered. He wants to be followed, and he wants people to be impressed by him.
Which,
Yes.
hey,
Great.
that's because those things feel nice.
Yeah.
And it's like, again, if he wasn't like a biz development guy, if that wasn't his thing, and instead his thing was yoga,
Or
that would be the aesthetic he was using instead. This is just a different kind of branding to any other kind of presentation. If instead he was a political guy, this would be operating the same
or
reason.
a dancer, like any kind of influencer, like public figure. It's the same exact thing. It's and he's not selling it that way. Or maybe he's also deluded enough himself that he doesn't think it's that way. What I've seen of my friends who left the Mormon church, sometimes you need to find another religion. You need to fill that hole with something else. And this is just from this documentary, that's what it seems like he's doing.
Creating a new religion. It kind of does feel like, because it's so dogmatic.
Yeah. And it's like rhythmic as well. It's like, I do this every Sunday. I go to church and mass is this long, and then I go home.
Because
I argue with my wife.
Being Mormon infiltrates every aspect of your life.
Yeah.
You go to church every single day. Your family is built on the church. Your friends are in the church. It is every aspect. Often your job training is related to the church.
And you work with Mormons quite possibly.
Yeah.
I had my annoying Reddit atheist era. I definitely did engage with that. And then I kind of rubber banded back to kind of broad agnosticism and openness. And now I'd say I'm pretty comfortably just a regular, well-adjusted, not posting about it atheist. And that is not why I have issues with certain aspects of organized religion. I have Christian friends, I have Muslim friends. It is like, hey, I got black friends, I can say it. Not quite like that. Just like, that is not the deciding factor. I think what is dangerous for anyone in any circumstance is a dependency on a community that will not accept you under very specific circumstances. Yeah. And I think in the age of loneliness is an overrated, overused term, but it's not because it's not literally, wow, the more people you have around you, the better you'll feel. It's any number of people that see you authentically and love you on at least like some kind of unconditional level, or appreciate the things about you that you might not always appreciate about yourself, and make you feel valuable inherently, which everyone should, is instead replaced with something super duper duper conditional. And now it's, if I go to church, I get this hierarchy of needs thing. I need food, I need water, I need shelter, and I need connection. We are social beings. And the problem is like, it's really scary to exist in a world where we don't have control over any of these things. And it would be so nice to pretend that there is something that solves that problem. Your son did not reconnect with you because you became a health nut. He reconnected with you because he felt bad like you were in the community. You left and then felt better.
Yeah.
And now he's joined you and you're making him do weird reverse crunches and saying that you'd love his legs.
Yeah.
That domino didn't need to fall. That is not how, if anything, it's maybe going to get in the way of the relationship in 5 years when, when he's hung out with people socially.
I know. That's the thing where I'm like,
don't you want to come back for Thanksgiving? We can hold hands while we eat.
I'm like, stop posting about my erections, Dad.
Come on, man.
I'm trying to get a girlfriend.
Yeah. And at night, he's got a girlfriend and he's like, sorry, I've just got to put on this thing before I go to bed.
Oh my God.
I have to equip this
that
ring.
That hurt me thinking about that.
The last bit is when he of the, it's grift, but the thin veneer is, his son says something about like your whole emotionless thing, where Bryan never says that in the documentary, but you can tell that that's kind of how he presents.
Yeah.
Like
he has a philosophy against emotions.
Yeah, that's the opposite. You can
he's crying in the IKEA.
Cries into the
Target. Yeah.
His poor son is holding up, so he's got his own trauma, and yet he's hugging his dad while his dad cries. In a Target.
I remember seeing that bit specifically and going like, okay, I'm having this initial reaction that is the result of like bad gender performance on my part. I'm like, bro, stop being a big baby crying. And my mom cried when I was going off to college, or she was like anxious about it. That's like,
but that's the thing. It was such a normal thing, and he was fighting it.
He was fighting it. That was the thing. Yeah,
and then he
can't regulate
couldn't fight it anymore.
And that's good. It's good that he like kind of let his but the thing is, if you're like the emotionless guy and now you're like, I can't fight these emotions, it's like, well, newsflash,
hey, man.
Maybe you're not actually transcending by fighting those emotions. You're bottling them up.
Maybe
it's just a fancy way of bottling them up.
And you know what, dog? That might kill you. Like that, like suppressing this stuff and not acknowledging it, of all the things to, I mean, I don't know if there is a ton of science behind it, but there is kind of the classic adage of you stuff something down, and you get a tumor. Like it itself is making you unhealthy.
He would have to take like 10 less pills if he let the sun touch him.
Oh,
But I mean, I get it. I get why you avoid it, but it's like, there are clips of other people being like, yeah, I would just rather die an early death. And I'm like, yeah, dude.
That's the thing is also, first of all, don't tell me not to die. You're not my dad.
Yeah.
And then second of all,
He's the only one who tells me not to die.
I want to die someday.
Yeah.
I want to die someday.
It's a part of
Is
it.
that crazy?
That's taken care of.
There's this weird philosophy in
Jordan will kill me someday.
Challenge accepted.
If you find a sword in me, just know Jordan did
I would
it.
not bloody my ancestors' blade.
It's
with
like
your
you get like an X-ray.
poly-colored plasma.
You get an X-ray and there's like a little sword and they're like, why? How did a samurai sword get in there?
Wait, Jordan made me dinner the other night.
You put it in your put it in your tempeh.
It's not even mini. It's full scale, a broadsword going through your sandwich. Okay.
But yeah, feeling your feelings is okay is, I guess, the thing.
Not okay. It's necessary and vital, and it's so good.
But it's what you then do, I guess, with that. What you then do with those feelings. So you're holding no emotions thing.
We did it, everyone.
We did
another episode of podcast in the books.
Did
Another
not
episode
die.
of podcast.
Another episode of podcast. Yeah, actually, Jacob,
maybe DeepSeek should run this.
Yeah,
show.
can we actually check in write me an outro for a Godzilla-focused podcast?
So we are gonna do our little grift, which is to say that you can listen to an additional podcast, Sad Boyz Nightz, over on our Patreon at patreon.com/sadboys. There's also an important Tom McDonald update.
Oh, shit.
That I totally forgot to include. So we'll just talk about it on Nights. But
I know nothing.
Jordan doesn't know anything. With all that said, we'll see you over there, or we won't.
Maybe we die.
Don't die.
Yeah, we
I say.
We end every episode of Sad Boys with a particular phrase.
Don't die.
And we're sorry.
Don't die, and I'm sorry.
I'm sorry about it.
That's after I killed you. We love you and we're sorry.
Yes.
Boom. In our break, I checked a dating app and someone had like matched with me that I thought was very pretty. And
Thank you.
I sent like one too many messages.
I know guys that have like, the whole back and forth and the whole process is figuring out what about yourself to mask and pretend to successfully go on this date, but they are in pursuit of long-term relationships. So it's kind of like, well, what if I go there and should I change my voice? And I'm like,
right.
For 50 years?
Yeah.
No. The thing that is so like, in fact, when you mentioned your message, it's like,
I just checked, still no response. She hates me. And that was my wife.
Gucci girl, how you doing? How you moving, girl? Moving, girl. How's your day looking? That future girl, yeah, we on now. Take my money, go away, all you want it. Girl, too rich for me.